Welcome to Harness for AppDynamics Transform. Harness recently partnered with AppDynamics to provide continuous delivery as a service to ultimately allow developers and DevOps teams to deploy to production on their own. We were founded in 2016. We have over 200 employees, and these are some of our customers that we've managed to win over the last few years, including names such as Charles Schwab, Twitter, Vodafone, and Nutanix. Continuous delivery is the ability to get changes of all types, including features, config changes, bug fixes, and experiments into production safely, quickly, and sustainable. You can think of it as developer on-demand deployments, literally providing push buttons so developers can deploy their own code to customers in production. To set the scene, if we look at selling application performance management for customers, it typically relates to production outage, performance issues, and slowdowns, where the customer experience is impacted and performance can be seconds or minutes. This is a great opportunity to embed AppDynamics in your production environment so you can monitor and troubleshoot, as well as extending the monitoring coverage to testing and optimization of code through the development, QA, and staging lifecycle. AppDynamics refers to this as their central nervous system, and this is what life can be like for customers in terms of optimizing the response times and the performance of services, giving customers a great experience. If we look at what continuous delivery looks like, we have this notion called a deployment pipeline, and that's how code is promoted through development, QA, staging into production from the developer's desktop. And if we look at this process today for customers, developers create new builds and artifacts. It's then manually deployed and rollbacked and tested and optimized. And it can be a lot of people, almost a village exercise where multiple teams get involved at every stage. It can take hours, it can take days, it can even take weeks. And so the whole process of getting code from the developer's desktop into production has a huge impact on time to market for businesses and the developer velocity. You can think of it as a total ship show, okay? With Harness and AppDynamics, what we're able to do now is when developers create a new build and artifact, we automatically deploy, we automatically verify using AppDynamics, and we automatically promote across the different environments. So Harness is responsible for promoting those artifacts across the different environments, for initiating AppDynamics central nervous system so we can verify the response time, the performance, and the quality of code. And we can streamline this entire process from weeks to minutes. So a lot of our customers who use Harness to do this are able to push code multiple times a day into production. One of our customers, NCR, called Harness a software delivery dream for collaboration. You can see the impact. NCR was migrating from a monolith Java to microservices on Kubernetes. They had 13 dev teams up and running in 2 months, and all the responsibilities of deployment shifted from the DevOps team to developers. Velocity went from 1 week to same day, and you can see number of deployments a month went from 40 to over 6,000. In addition to that, they saw a huge reduction in firefighting because now the developers were doing deployments and troubleshooting their own deployments versus the DevOps team. Openbank, Bank of Santander, they said Harness allows us developers to deploy themselves without speaking to operations. They saw similar benefits. Within 24 hours, they were up and running after initial demo. By the end of 1 week, they were in production, and they went from a centralized IT operations deployment structure to developer self-service. As a result, deployment time came down, effort came down, and as did rollback as well. So with that, I'm going to jump into a demonstration. This is a centralized dashboard at Harness showing all the applications that we're deploying to, along with how many deployments and the change failure rate. So we can see how many deployments were successful. We can click continuous deployment, and we have an audit of all of the deployments that have happened in the past. So we can see here's a pipeline, stage 1 development, stage 2 QA. We've got a manual approval and a production deployment as well. This is known as a deployment pipeline. So what we're going to do is we're going to kick off a new deployment. Let's imagine I'm a developer. I'm going to pick my application. I'm going to pick the pipeline that I want to run. And then Harness automatically connects to the repository and pulls all of the versions of the application. So I'm going to pick the latest, and now we're going to deploy code from development all the way through to production. We're in the development workflow. You can see we're creating a Jira ticket. Harness is orchestrating all the different steps now to promote the artifact into the environment, to run tests on the artifact. And now you can see on the right-hand side, we can actually see it deploying to the Kubernetes cluster. and we're going to run a few tests. With a bit of luck, development should complete. Yep, there we go, it's gone green. And now we're automatically promoting the code to QA. So now we're going to update the Jira ticket. We're going to deploy it to the QA Kubernetes cluster. On the right, you can see all of the consoles, so developers can debug that in real time. And now QA is completed. We're going to go to stage 3, which is a manual approval. So it's asking me to approve the ticket. So I'm going to click into Jira. And I can see in the ticket all of the progress of the pipeline so far. So I can see the customs and security scan worked, QA completed. I'm going to click approved. And now I'm going to go back into Harness, and it should unlock the gate to the production deployment. And we're going to watch a Canary deployment happen in real time. So in a few seconds, we're going to see the production Canary start to occur. Manual approvals are optional, so you can have it completely automated if you want, or you can have as many manual approvals at every step that you require. You can see now production is kicked in. We're going to do a multi-phase Canary deployment. So we're going to acquire the resource lock. We're going to deploy to 10% of the environment. So you can see resizing of the clusters being done. And now we're going to verify. And this is where we use the information in AppDynamics to verify the response time of the transactions once we've deployed to the first phase of the Canary phase. Phase 1 is completed. The machine learning in Harness has not noticed any regressions in AppDynamics. We've now moved to phase 2 of the Canary, and we've now increased the size of the environment to 25% from 10. So we've rolled out the application to a broader scope of the environment. And now the machine learning has flagged that one transaction in Harness has regressed in response time. So response time is now 1.8 seconds from 8 milliseconds. So there's a huge jump there. As a result of that, we've automatically rolled back the application. So Harness version controls all of the artifacts, all of the configuration. So as quickly as it can deploy a new version, it can also roll back. And so you can see in less than a minute, the application was rolled back to the previous working version. As well as checking all of the business transactions and response times, we can also look at log data as well in AppDynamics. So we can check for any new null pointers, any exceptions or errors that were introduced as part of the deployment. Harness also provides links in jumping context into AppDynamics. So for example, 24/7 Service Guard, you can see we track all of the response time data in AppDynamics. So if you just want to browse across all your different AppDynamics instances, take a quick look at business transactions, and then drill into AppDynamics, you can do that in one click.